Is it possible for evil to be replaced by good? Sure. Is it possible for a person that has blood on their hands, that was a murderer in one part of their life, can turn a new leaf and become a believer? Sure. Is it possible for that person to become spirit-filled and march a whole new march? Yes. And today you're going to meet that person on the crossover, Kamal Saleem. Stay tuned. Next.
For nearly 2,000 years, Jews and Christians have been divided. But now, God is calling for the healing of past hurts and the comforting of His people. Discover how God is prophetically uniting Jews and Christians across the world today on The Crossover. And now, here is your host, Mitch Jerome.
Welcome to The Crossover. And our guest today is Kamal Saleem. Kamal, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me. God bless you. And
God bless you. Glad to have you. Kamal, the person interviewing you today is a Jew, born Jewish, bar mitzvahed, and Jewish today. The eyes of Kamal 30 years ago versus the eyes of Kamal today, what would be different in this scenario?
born again. I just came to the light of God, and the song "Amazing Grace," it is it's a true story of somebody that his name was Kamal. Amazing Grace, how sweet, the sound that saved a wretch like me. I was once lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see.
What would the old Kamal have been in the same scenario now, being so close to a Jew? Just for our viewers to see the difference of where you came from.
With a gun in his hand, probably, or or with something. I would definitely, assault you, if not more, because we were mandated to kill the Jews according to the Holy Koran. It's in the Surah Al-Fatiha, the book of Al-Fatiha, the opening. It says, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. Those maghdubi alayhim means the accursed one, the Jews. Ad-Dallin, they are the Christian ones, so which is they are perverted one. So therefore we were called to in my faith, the radical faith, is to take out the Jews and the Christians unless they become, convert to Islam, and so it would not be possible, no. The thing I was born into it. I was born into a radical family. My grandfather came from the Ottoman Empire. My mother was not far from her father's teaching, and so the indoctrination starts with your food. We were taught right there on a table in the house called tabli. It's in the kitchen floor, and there we sat and we were learning what's so-called madrasa, which is school. In there, we were learning the Koran, we were learning the Hadith, we were learning, Sira, and all of it gives us our mandate until your mother said, you were born to die for the sake of Allah, you were born to kill Jews, and if you kill a Jew, my son, your hand will light up before the throne of heaven, and the host of heaven will celebrate your glory.
You were in a serious car accident and broke your neck.
Fractured my neck in two places. My collarbone and other, bones on my one side of the body. You
were on a drive to go meet, I think, 3 young men that were radical.
Yes, Moroccans. Yeah, we have a list by Islamic, by Saudi Arabia, who sent us to America, and they will tell us who is coming, Muslim students who are coming to America. The whole idea is when they came in, before the Christian get hold of them and convert them, is to establish them in the Muslim Student Association or Union, and by so turn them to radicals. So our job is to welcome them and basically turn them to radicals.
So in that serious car accident, you are now brought into the home of the doctor who's caring for you, who's a Christian, and you're brought back to health, and your bills are paid for by Christians, who you would call the infidel. And we can come back to that in a minute, but I want to go to after you're healed, you're back in your bedroom. Kamal, I want to hear your experience of what happened.
So the first thing, when I came home from the doctor's house, I fell on my knees. And when I fell on my knees, I lifted up my hands to the heaven, and I cried out to my God, Allah, Allah, Rabbi wa Mawlay, my Lord and my King, why have you done such a thing to me? You know, and I was not talking about the car wreck. I was talking about why he put me among Christians. I said, I live to die for you, and the dying for you is I will die every day. You can give me life and I will die again. But you put me among Christians. Those Christians have relationship with their God. They cry for healing, they receive healing. They cry for blessing, they receive blessing. They have tangible relationship. And I said to him, I want to have the same relationship with you too. I want to hear that you love me. Allah, if you are real, speak to me.
So hold that 1 second. So we're going to take a break here. Stay tuned. Don't leave. Let's come back and see what happened in that room when Kamal reaches out to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. On January 8th, 2009, a large police presence descended on Houston's Holocaust Museum to separate opposing factions over the Gaza war. Pro-Hamas supporters lined one sidewalk. Facing them were Jews and Christians, standing with Israel, telling the world, never again. Since we were carrying a large camera, a policeman felt he had to approve our passage into the demonstration. He warned if we were caught inciting or provoking, we'd be arrested. What do you say when there's a demonstration going on today in front of the Holocaust Museum, of all places where there could have been a demonstration? Any particular comment on that?
Oh, we are protesting the allegations made as if there is any relevance or correlation between Nazi crimes and ravages of war. Whatever casualties war brings, they have nothing in the realm of a genocide.
Even though they've got signs on the side of the street proclaiming that quite loudly.
Well, it's a free country.
Others were more animated with their opinions.
Utterly tasteless, utterly inappropriate, ghastly protest across the street from the Holocaust Museum. For these people to equate what is going on now, Israel defending herself, with the genocide conducted by the Nazis, is intolerable.
Was it possible that the war in Gaza had any comparisons to Hitler's genocide on the Jews?
I just think it's really kind of sick. They're here in front of the Holocaust Museum, a place that is really a sacred place to not just Jews, but Christians, Muslims, all religions, to really talk about and really demonstrate in a museum and memorialize a true genocide. The argument that they have is that a democracy, Israel, who uses leaflets to warn civilians about pending attacks, who uses smart bombs and guided weapons to limit civilian casualties, is equivalent to a Nazi genocide that used ovens and gas chambers. It's just to make the comparison, you either have to be totally ignorant of history or you have to be anti-Semitic.
This war is not a Holocaust. This is a war that was started by Hamas. It was started by them firing one rocket after another. There were 8,000 rockets fired at women, children, innocent victims, that those aims of those rockets were to kill them.
Here is your host, Mitch Jerome.
Welcome back to the crossover. So Kamal, you're in the bedroom. You're asking for Allah to speak to you. The infidel just took care of you, loved on you for weeks and weeks, and paid your bills. And now you're going to Allah to say, what's going on? What happened?
Yeah, basically I'm sitting right in front of a window. I was on my knees and I was crying out, to God of Islam, Allah. And when I cried to him, he did not answer. There was nobody on the other side. The Koran, the Hadith in Islam, the tradition of Islam, says if the whole world worth an intellect to Allah, He destroyed it time and time again, but it's worth nothing to Him. So therefore, there was no, I know that He would not talk to me because Allah will not come to the level of humanity because He is higher and He is greater, and if they come to Him, they are His slaves. So you have to be a slave of Allah to follow Allah. You could not be a free man. Freedom is, you can't follow. And of course, they call that freedom. They call it Islam. But it is total slavery. But when I cried to him, and that day when I didn't hear his voice, I was really concerned. I sensed in my heart and my understanding that there's nobody on the other side. And I thought to myself, if I turn myself to my, my brother, my Muslim brotherhood, and tell them, listen, I'm clocking out. I don't want to be on this. I'm moving on. I don't want to be part of this, because when I found out it's not the truth. It's total opposite. They would kill me. How do I know this? I'd have done the same thing to them. If I went to my Lebanese family and I told them the same thing, my brothers will hold me and my dad will take my head off. He'll take the knife and take my head off. How do I know? I'd have done it for my brother or against my brother or my sister. Why? Because that's what we commanded. If a Muslim convert, kill him. But something came to me, and a teaching of Islam says, if a good Muslim challenge Allah and mocks him, then Allah will kill him. And I thought to myself, I have nothing to lose, because that day I was going to kill myself, because I'm not going to let anybody kill me. I'm a warrior, and there's nobody there on the other side, so I may as well kill myself, because there's no spirit out there. There's no truth to Allah, So I challenged Allah. So I said to him, Allah, Rabbi wa Mawlay, if, my God, my King, if I kill myself today and I see your face and you say, Kamal Saleem, you're going to hell because you killed yourself, I'm going to say before humanity and before the angels of heaven that I called upon you and you did not answer. And I sought you out and you did not speak. And I asked of you and you never engaged me. So I'd rather live in hell than live with you, because you did not tell the truth. And I'd rather live in hell there than live with you.
So you pulled out a gun.
Well, I thought the sword will take off my head that day, but the sword didn't come in. So I started laughing in hysteria, laughing and crying. All I've done is not true. Everything that I've done for Islam is not what Allah did, is what I did. Everything that we worked as a Muslim, it was the work of my hand and not the work of him. So what I did at that time is I thought I'll go grab a gun, put it in my head and finish the story. And by the time I came to grab the gun, I hear a voice. And this voice was so powerful and so clear. And the way he spoke, he was more, he was so kind and so filled with grace and mercy, better than my mother's voice when I was running high fever in bed. And the voice called me like a son. He did not call me like a slave. And he knew me by name. He said, Kamal. Kamal. On the third time when I said...
So Kamal, is this in your head you're hearing this, or you're hearing this out here?
No, this is...
a voice in the room.
I'm hearing God. And that voice would declare, who to say whether you hear him here or there, whether I'm in the same place or more, but I heard the voice of God. And I knew right away it is God's voice. And I'm trying to discern. He said, the Muslims, the Jews and the Christians, they cry to God of Father Abraham. They claim he's the man, and God, and his God is the God of heaven and earth. He said, won't you call on the God of Father Abraham and Isaac and Jacob? Not only God of Israel, Abraham and Ishmael, but God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. All of a sudden, the understanding came to me, and I knew the one who is trying to thread me into the truth of heaven. What happened, he was showing me the way and the life and the truth. That the way to me is through Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. And I'm going, they're Jews in my head. And what happened is when I fell on my knees and I put my hand to the heaven and I cried out to the God of Father Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, behold, the room was filled with his glory. The presence of the Lord was there. The heaven and earth opened up and they were in oneness. And there in his presence there was fullness of joy. There were power, there is healing, there's love. Angels were about him. He's dressed like a rabbi. He has his shawl over him, his talit, like a Jew. He has holes in his hand and his feet. And I said to him, when I saw him, I said, my Lord, who are you, my Lord? He said, I am that I am. I said, Lord, I'm a Bedouin. I have no understanding. I don't know what I am means. What, I said, what is that supposed to mean? He said, I am the Aleph, I am the Tav. I am the beginning, I'm the end. I am the Alpha and Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. He said, I am everything. He said, I have known you before I formed you, before I formed the foundation of the earth. I have loved you before I formed you in your mother womb. Kamal, Kum, arise.
Kamal, you had a radical transformation in one day, in one moment.
It was the best car wreck I ever had.
Kamal, that's an awesome story. We have to take a break right here. But when we come back, I want to go in a different direction. That was an incredible testimony for your audience out there. When we come back, I want you to teach us about the universities and what's going on there and where is America amiss here. Stay tuned on The Crossover. We'll be back with Kamal in just a moment.
For nearly 2,000 years, Jews and Christians have been divided. But now, God is calling for the healing of past hurts and the comforting of His people. Discover how God is prophetically uniting Jews and Christians across the world today on The Crossover. The Crossover exists to communicate to the Jewish community that there is a growing group of Christians who love them unconditionally. The focus of the Crossover program is to promote a greater understanding of the differences and similarities between Jewish and Christian customs, history, and theology, while encouraging a closer walk with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. As a second-generation Holocaust survivor, Rosalie's Jewish heritage includes parents who were protected from the Nazis by Christians. Yet for more than a decade, Mitch and Rosalie searched for meaning in life in the New Age movement. But after returning to their Judeo-Christian roots, they discovered God's purpose for their lives: to rebuild bridges between Christians and Jews. Now through TV, radio, the internet, speaking engagements, the healing room, and print and video resources, they are reuniting Jews and Christians in fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Join Mitch and Rosalie as they tackle tough topics and welcome dynamic guests on The Crossover. The Promised Land.
And I also tried to make it very clear to the Christians all over the world that they are threatened to the same extent as the Jews and Israel are threatened. And I also say basically that Jews and Christians are waiting for the Messiah, who is a Jew from Israel who speaks Hebrew. And that Messiah is going to come to Jerusalem. And so Christians share this faith with the Jews.
The Hebraic roots of Christianity.
And we began looking at Jesus through Jewish spectacles and not our Texas spectacles or American spectacles or even Western culture spectacles. He's so much more glorious. He's so much more grand. It does not in any way detract from the fact that he's the Son of God, the risen Savior, but he's also a man.
Judaism 101.
Many times people ask, what is a Jew? Is it a race? Is it a people? Is it a culture?
Jewish-Christian relations. Bible, fact or fiction? For more information on The Crossover and The Crossover Project, contact Rosalie Jerome or log on to our website. Here is your host, Mitch Jerome.
Welcome back to The Crossover. Our guest is Kamal Saleem. And Kamal, finish when the Lord entered that room, the light was there, you had a vision of him, you saw him. What did he say to you?
Well, when I said to him what I said, I don't know who you are, and he told me who he was. All of a sudden, it dawned on me, it's Jesus, that I was crying for Allah, I was crying for God, but God sent Jesus. And I'm going like, why would I ask for God and Jesus comes about? But when he met me, he said, I am he. And all of a sudden I knew what that meant. He called himself Yahweh, the Lord is one. So I came to know that Now the 3-in-1, it makes perfect sense to me because I never understood it before. And then I said to him, right away, I gave him my life. I said to him, my Lord, I will live and die for you. He said, do not die for me. I died for you that you may live. I said, my Lord, give me a chance. I'm a warrior. By the skin of their teeth and by their eyelashes, I will make them Christian. He said, the harvest is plentiful. The workers are few. Be an ambassador of mine. The understanding that came upon me is from Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves to be an ambassador of God. Nobody can comprehend this. So everything that happened before is no longer in existence. You start a new page, and now you are not seen through what you were before, but you are seen through the eyes of Christ. So that's how it's all started, and I took it to heart.
You became a new man, Kamal.
Yes.
Kamal, share with our viewers, I'm very concerned about our universities.
Yes.
If anyone knows what's going on, it's you. It was part of your mission field.
Yes.
I know that you infiltrated, was the word, the universities in America. You went to the Maya group, Muslim Association of Youth.
Correct.
And other groups like that. What was your purpose?
We were sent here first. You know, we did not come to be students. Our work here in America was a grand jihad, the final and the best jihad there is. There are several ways of jihad. One of the jihad, the first jihad, it is for the Muslim to fight and be a better Muslim, to fight against himself. But the second jihad, it's called al-qalam, which is political jihad. The third jihad, it's called al-sayf, which is jurisprudence, which is, killing people with like 9/11 is a perfect example. And the last one is called al-kitman. Al-kitman is the silent jihad. That's the cancer jihad that invade the civilization. We studied for that in our childhood how to invade civilization. I was sent to Europe first, but when I was sent by the Saudis to the United States of America for the invasion and infiltration, my commission was universities, prison system, and the poor neighborhood. The universities were specific to go over there and receive all the Muslim that they're coming in and start convert them, engage them to become radical Muslims. So we're creating entity. We are starting an army from innocent people, and that is, it's called homegrown jihad. What is homegrown jihad? When you take a nominal Muslim that all he wants to do is do the 5 pillars, he want to pray and leave. But you come around and you turn him around and you change him to a killing machine, and now he want to kill himself and kill everybody else. And the whole idea is to invade the universities and recruit the professors. Our job was to recruit professors, and by doing so they can have a special favor with us that they will not fight Islam but fight for Islam. And so therefore they were a financial gift sent from overseas. They were sent to different countries to visit or indoctrinated themselves. And also what we did is we married the American women specifically for the citizenship, because we knew if we obtained the American citizenship, that is the sword of Goliath that will take the head of Goliath himself. We can turn the American Constitution against itself, against its own people. And last but not least is to take these men and indoctrinate them, to let them know that our God is one. We are a people of peace and whatso have you, and start evolving the culture, destroying it by its own people and by the hand of Muslims.
So are we talking a few schools, or is this something that is way beyond our imagination? And how easy was it to infiltrate the campuses?
90% of our university, if not more, are infiltrated, because Prince Talal bin Abdul Aziz, he is one of the Saudi prince, and one of his specialty, beside buying ABC, NBC, CBS, and media, his specialty to open Islamic center in universities. And by doing so, what he does is when he opened the Islamic center, all those Ivy League university and other universities that they are supposed to write the curriculum for public school to be under Article 11. What happened is they have to have funds and they have to have writing skills and whatsoever. And by opening the Islamic centers, he took on to write the education book for the public schools, by doing so by the Islamic Center and the universities, where he infiltrated our education system and our very own civilization from its infancy. So this is part of it. And then the other part was the jail system to really thrive on a weak and Islamicize them and turn them to the Nation of Islam and what so have you, and then the poor neighborhood to establish Islamic societies.
Kamal, in the last minute that we have here, you speak to the viewers. What's on your heart? What does America need to hear? What do you have on your heart to share with our viewers?
9/11 did not do it. When 9/11 took place, America still went to sleep. Today we are not fighting, just the Islamic invasion or what's so-called jihad. We are fighting on many different ways, from our educations, from our economy. Our 7 mountains of influence have been infiltrated by Islam. And Islam is here. When we talk about this, not all Muslims are radical Muslims. We're talking about this special and unique people. Read about it in the Holy Land Foundation trial, which is here. It took place in Texas. These organizations are radical Muslim. They are a Muslim brotherhood. A lot of the Muslim are good Muslim, and God loves the Muslim. He made them in His image, and He has story for them. But the Muslim brotherhood, we need to wake up and understand what is their ideology and what they're about to do and how they're going about it. So we need to be engaged. We need to be involved in voting. We need to know what's happening. Start asking the question and start being involved in your city, whether it's your PTA or whether it's your city council. You need to run for city council. You need to run for city, manager or whatever. Be involved within your local government, where you sit on every meeting and start affecting the sphere around you, your sphere of influence.
Kamal, fortunately, time is against us here. But we appreciate all that you have come to share, your heart, your sincerity, and that you've come to the Lord with such a passion.
Well, to God be the glory. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Join Mitch and Rosalie as they reach an ever-growing worldwide audience through the crossover. We invite you to become a crossover partner right now by calling the number on your screen. For your monthly gift of $30 or more, you will receive the Crossover Partnership Pack, which includes a DVD of today's program, a personal greeting and prayer message from Mitch and Rosalie, more information about the Crossover Project. As you continue to support the Crossover each month, you will receive a new Crossover DVD, a monthly ministry report, and your name will be added to the Healing Room. Call now or log on to our website and join the growing family of Crossover Partners. And be sure to join us again next week as Mitch and Rosalie tackle timely topics and welcome dynamic guests on The Crossover.
Lord God of Abraham, Isaac and Israel, let it be known today that you are God. We offer up our lives as a